start on the subject, I have a question, so I think I should answer that question first, if that's okay with all of you. It's quite long. After having been in a relationship for quite a while, I was completely floored when I was told that tu problema es que te entregas demasiado. What is te entrega?
You give too much of yourself.
You give too much of yourself. Okay. I am a very loyal and caring person. I try not to impose or cling to people, as I respect persons that people need. I respect a person's need for privacy. But I am always there for them if the need arises. If they need or like something, I always remember and try to please. No ulterior motive. As you can imagine, I am very confused. Being insecure, this has made me more so. I have no idea what it is I am doing wrong and am wary of being myself. Well, this is a really loaded question. I'd like to just repeat the first part again. After having been in a relationship for quite a while, I was completely floored when I was told that tu problema es que te entregas demasiado. Entregas, can you give me the exact translation? Attach?
Isn't it like a surrender or something?
Give yourself too much.
Give yourself too much.
You, that is, give of yourself too much.
Yes.
Okay.
Involve yourself too much, maybe also.
Involve. So it really, you see the translation, it could be really important to my answer. And if it's involved too much in people's life, then maybe there is a point. You should interfere in somebody's life. That's not the meaning of it. Okay.
No.
It's the other one is surrender, but it's the same. You surrender
Entrega
to
is
something.
surrender as well, yeah.
Okay.
So put that.
You
Put
know,
that first. Maybe.
if you are the kind of person, I don't know who this question has come from, but I'll answer the best I can. If you are the kind of person that loves to serve, and as you said in your letter or your question, you're the sort of person who loves to serve and loves to give. And for you, it's not about people pleasing. You really like to give and really like to serve because that's your nature. You can be sure that many people in the world around you, your family members, will try to bring you down. Shanti, could you just make this a little louder? I feel I'm straining. They'll try to put you down, not because they want to. It's almost a fear. I have noticed many times when one partner is very giving and very loving. Now please note, there's a big difference when you try to do things to please people so they like you. There's a huge ego in that, because many people do. Let me cover both sides of the coin, and then you can see where I'm coming from, okay? Many people go out in the world, and in their relationship, they just do things for people because they want people to like them. They actually want something in return. They are saying they don't want anything in return, but they are. People can sense that. And in a relationship, your partner can definitely sense that you are doing things almost to be liked. And when a person sees that very much, it shows very low self-esteem. It shows that you do, and you reconfirm in this letter that you do have very low self-esteem. So if I was you, and I was a person with very low self-esteem, and my partner told me that my problem was that I tried to please or surrender to people too much, I would take that into consideration and watch. Am I doing it because I don't feel good enough and I need to force myself to be nice to feel good enough? Or am I doing it because my nature is really that I love to give. I really love to serve. I really love to surrender. I really want to give people help when they need it. And I really expect nothing in return. So the first thing you need to know is, where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? And if you're really the kind of person that really loves to give and serve, then you know, my God, you shouldn't change that. You should get strong in who you are and know where you are coming from. And if you're not sure where you are coming from, meditate on it. If you have such low self-esteem, it's not good for you anyway. You need to work on that. You need to look at that. So maybe your partner has been sent to give you the message to look at your low self-esteem. Do not take that sentence too much to heart. I would go to the person or my partner, if he said that to me, and say, in which way do you think, I serve too much or I give of myself too much? In which way? I'd like to know, because if I'm really overdoing, we talked about this at the retreat, when you overdo and over try to help people, you could be interfering in their lives. And maybe it's your partner's way of telling you, you know what? You're going beyond the limit of what people need. And sometimes when we help people, we actually interfere, because some people don't want help. They might tell you their problem, but they don't want you to get involved in their problem. Have you seen that? And when you get involved, they blame you later. So when two people are having problems in a relationship, and the third person gets involved, and they're not neutral, I tell them, stay away. Stay away. You know why I tell them stay away? Because when they tell one partner one thing, and they start talking, they blame the other person. And the good friend becomes the enemy now. So from what I'm seeing here from this question, first thing I would do is ask my partner, why are you telling me this? Is there something in me that's trying too hard? Am I working too hard? Am I interfering? Because if it is, he's giving you a great, or she's giving you a great message. But if you feel there is no reason for that, then you should never change who you are. You should never change who you are. And if they don't like it, too bad. This is your nature. You love to serve, love, give, and you have to live to be who you are. If you hide and you're wary, as you say, of who you are, then you're becoming a hypocrite to yourself and to the world. And if you become a hypocrite to yourself and the world, how are you ever going to find peace? Because you will always be acting and never being who you were born to be. As it is, we talk about self-realization today. When you're really self-realized, all you want to do anyway is serve, love, give. But you are coming from a place of high self-esteem, not low self-esteem, in order to be liked. I mean, so many people, even the Sri Guru Gita, the great text speaks about, charity does not a holy person make. And many people go into charity because they want to be famous, or they want to be noticed, or it doesn't a person make. We should just do things with love, because people need to be served, and people need to be fed, and people need help. So it's always the reason, it looks the same, act is the same. One does it from the heart, and really because I want to give, serve, love, give. And the other one gives, does the same action, but does it for recognition. Do you see there is a difference? So the same way in charity, the same way you have to look at this in your own life. Are you doing things because you want to be recognized as a good person? Hi, Susan, please sit down. Or are you doing things because this is your nature? That is the big question. And again and again and again, you have to know who you are. The clue here is low self-esteem. Why should you have low self-esteem? Why should anybody have low self-esteem? Today we talk about self-realization. And when you realize self with a capital S, got it? Self. In our old ancient texts, Vedic texts, I don't even like to say they're Hindu, although the Hindus maintain the text. but the text actually came from the northern people who moved south to India. And there in the Indus Valley, a lot of these very spiritual concepts were kept. And they were sent out throughout the world. But much of it was changed and dissipated, and disciples became too egotistical and created their own religions. These old texts tell us that we all come from one. We are all one. Science tells us in the beginning there was like a big bang, right? Big bang. All comes from one. And when you have a big bang, what do you see? Sparks fly everywhere. The Upanishads say just the Lord of love, just like sparks, zillions of sparks come from a fire. You know, when you light a fire, how many sparks do you see? So millions of human beings come from the Lord of love. So we all come from the Lord of love. Science calls it Big Bang. Fine. You want to be intellectual? Call it the Big Bang. You know, you want to be more in the mode of love? Then call it the Lord of love. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, self-realization is not about words or what people call it. Self-realization happens in an individual. Each of us as an individual has this spark in us. And nobody can tell us how to connect with that spark except ourselves. We can have guideways, maps through different religions. We can have intelligent people whom we've seen achieve this tell us the way to get there. But nobody can tell us how to be self-realized. What is the meaning of self-realization for a start? Self-realization. Let's start with the basic. Basic. Basic is, as I say nearly every week, are we really this body? Are we really this body?
No.
What happens to your body when you die?
It rots.
It rots or it burns, right? Or some people throw it in the sea. There's your body. So who are you? Basic on a human level. Who are you? We call it soul, we call it spirit. We say mind and spirit equals soul. It's still individual. Mind and spirit equals soul, and that's where you got the individual soul. And when you're a pure spirit, then you're no more individual soul. But when you are there, you won't be able to talk or even discuss it with anybody. Got it? So when you're already there, there's nobody to talk to you about it. And this is why all the great saints and sages say, the only time you can really self-realize is when there is nobody there to talk about it to you. And this you can only do when you spend hours on your own. You do the spiritual studies, you seek. I mean, nobody would be in this room if you weren't seeking the greatest, the highest, the best of ourselves, really. What does spirituality mean? Self-realization is realizing that you are spirit. The yogis give the quality of the spirit as truth, knowledge, bliss, absolute. That's why Lord Jesus said, say the truth and the truth will set you free. Because truth is the essence of this spirit. Knowledge is the essence of this spirit. And bliss, joy. We all want to be happy, right? Do you know anybody who says, I don't want to be happy in this world? I don't know one. Everybody wants to be happy. And why does everybody want to be happy? Because that's what we experienced in the beginning from the Lord of love. These old Vedic scriptures, I just love the way they describe this energy we call God or universe. And again, words are not important. Don't get caught up in words. This is the problem we have today. I have to keep repeating because so many wars are caused because of religion. It's not the religion that causes it. It's the people with egos that cause the wars. All the great masters spoke of peace. So why do the disciples create wars? Do you understand that? We're such intelligent human beings. Or I seem to think we are. Sometimes I doubt it very much. If we are so intelligent, and all the great people that we fall in love with in our lives, at least I do, these great, great souls that you fall in love with naturally, speak of peace. They speak of love. They speak of we're all one. They all say, Lord Jesus said, you're my brothers and sisters. And the Hindu scripture says we're all one. So why does division occur? My master says, truth is one, paths are many. It doesn't matter which religion you are, which tradition you are. If you have no religion, if you're an atheist, or even if you create your own, it really doesn't matter. We really come from the same place. And I know so many atheists in my life who are the nicest human beings in the world. And you know why they turn away from what we call God? You know why they turn away? So many bad examples. So they say, I prefer not to believe in a God and look after my fellow man. And they are some of the most genuine, kindest people. And I joke with them, when I travel. I go, really, you don't believe in God? I think you do. Because you see God in everyone. You see God in everyone because you love everyone and you care for everyone and you have compassion for everyone. Even though they have their faults, you still love them. I think you're wise, wiser than most who say they know God. This is the state of many, many people I have met. No, of course I've met people, men of God, women of God, who are also in that beautiful state in different religions, I've seen it in the Catholic tradition in school. I loved my nun. She was brilliant. I've seen it in my guru who was, started off Hindu and ended up saying he was undo. He said, I'm everything. So I'm not a Hindu, I'm not this, I'm this, but I'm everything. So he said, I'm an undo. Undo all the nonsense and bring people together. I've seen it in my father, who from a very young age told me, when I went to a Catholic school being brought up in a Hindu family, and I wanted to go to Mass every Sunday, and all my friends didn't. How odd, huh? And they were Catholics, and they had to go. And he'd go, of course, darling, God is everywhere. You can pray in a temple, you can pray in a Buddhist monastery, you can pray anywhere. God is everywhere, you can pray in your room, So when you see that, and we have to realize, we talk about brotherhood of man, sisterhood of man, which we keep talking about it, and yet on a very, very, very basic level, simple level, we argue about the most petty things. We make big things out of nothing. Really big things. Okay, this is the play of life. In life you have to have some quarrels, some fun, but don't take it seriously. That's why I like your question. Whoever sent the question is a really good question. Sometimes, I think life sends us people all around us to almost sometimes hurt us so much to look deeper as to our true motives, to make us purer, to make us better. And many, many, many times I've seen in our lives, we actually need insults and pains for us to grow. Otherwise we stay stuck in our uncomfortable comfort zone. And it's not who we're meant to be. We're meant to be living in the highest spiritual order. This is the human mission. And for me, it's really simple. What is the highest human order? Common sense. Everybody wants to be happy. And in order for everybody to be happy, there must be peace. True or not? You cannot be happy if there is no peace. So obviously the highest human order for all of us must be peace. And again, I repeat my master's words. He used to say to me, don't get confused, Nalanie. Don't get confused with the word God. He said, make peace your God. And don't even let God disturb that. And we can see how today, and the Bible says, do not use the name of the Lord thy God in vain, right? And how many people do that? They use God's name to corrupt. You know, we've seen it ourselves when we went to India. We've seen it. Of all the thieves in the world, it was the priest and the Swami. They were the most corrupt. It was really very sad for us to see that. And the business people, the most genuine. You know, what do? You learn. I'm not saying that all of them are. There's some beautiful ones, like I said. You know, when I went to school, beautiful nuns, beautiful priests, beautiful Buddhists, beautiful Hindu monks. In all the traditions, that you always find the beauty and you find the ugly part. And that's for us to learn, to discriminate what we want in life. What brings us the highest peace. Follow that. And really, if you think about it, it's really common sense. If you're constantly angry, you are never at peace. If you're constantly rebelling with life and fighting, you're never at peace. If you constantly have envy or jealousy, you have no peace. If you're constantly uncomfortable in your own body, not knowing who you are, you can have zero peace. So all these things, common sense, you don't need to be smart to realize who you really are. Self with a capital S, realization. You just have to spend some time and quiet and look around. Just look around and simply see what makes you feel good inside. Simply, what makes you feel comfortable? You know, we see a picture of an old man with a baby smiling, our heart goes, ah. We see a man with an animal, a dog like that, so cute, loving, we go, ah. These things make us so happy. We see a mother with a baby, we go, ah. We see starving children and we go, tears. We see wars and there are tears. We don't even know these people and we cry for them. We see animals slaughtered cruelly and there are tears. Why? We don't even know these animals or these people. Why do we feel so connected? Again, you have to watch that. What is it telling you? Common sense, isn't it? That which is cruel is unhealthy and makes us sad because it tears us apart as human beings. And that which is pure and beautiful makes us happy and makes us strong as human beings. When you realize that, for me, self-realization, that you can't help but want to be so kind, or as generously kind as you can, and compassionate as you can, to the person who's with you. But of course, when you're in relationships 24 hours a day, two totally different people, that's the challenge. There's going to be some knocks. And I think this is really necessary in a relationship. If both partners, if both people can see that, don't take it personally and ask the question, is there some reality in what the person is saying? Is there some reality in what the person is saying? Because if we're always saying, no, I'm the good one and I don't know why you say that about me, we can never really find ourselves. I often tell this story, and I can give you a couple of myself. My husband used to tell me all the time, you're too emotional, too emotional, too emotional. But of course, I was the one who believed in God, and I was the one who prayed. I wasn't into spirit yet. What is real spirituality and what is the real self? I hadn't understood that. I thought I did. I had no clue at that time. And he used to say to me, no, you're too emotional. And I would get so upset with him. I said, that's because you're so cold, I had to attack. You see, we throw a dagger back. That's the normal state of most human beings without knowledge. And this is why it's so important to have knowledge when you're on this path. Just attack, throw a dagger right back. But my dagger doesn't hurt. His dagger hurts. Do you see? Again, one-sided. We start to see one-sided because we are living in a very selfish mind, in a very one-sided world in here. Not because we're bad or evil or wicked. Ignorance. We just don't know. We're not taught. We're not taught in schools. So we're so used to thinking everything around ourselves. So with the yoga practices, one day, I really love this because it's so true. I was meditating and I was quiet, and suddenly I had this vision. My husband's sitting down, he's Nalanie, blah, 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 and I'm, yeah, why do you say this? And I go, oh my God. I had such a shock. I went, oh my God, he's right. I'm really too emotional, and I couldn't see it. I really couldn't see it till I had this quiet time, and after months of meditation and trying to be a better human being by changing myself, because I made the effort to find my soul, I saw it, and it was a shock. It was a big shock. And then the next shock was, now I have to be humble. I was like, sorry. The ego is so big it never wants to say sorry. Male and female alike. We are no different. You know, all this fancy stuff. Deep inside, we all work with our heart. I've seen that. You know, you kind of nurture a man and he'll give you everything you need. He nurtures a woman and she'll give him everything, you know, he needs. It's both ways, you know. It's not that, okay, physically we're a little different and maybe we use a different side of the brain, but our hearts, where our hearts are concerned, we're all the same. So, you know, eating humble pie is not easy for many people. And of course, I went to apologize to him and admitted that I was a little too emotional. And give me time and I'll learn. It's very difficult to change overnight, you know. And I will learn. I'll make a few mistakes, but I'd learn. And that was our start to a better relationship. But what starts us on these better relationships? When we can see life in a bigger picture. The bigger picture. Not immediately, oh, you've insulted me or I've insulted you. Why has this happened? What needs to be fixed? Sometimes the insult has come really to hurt and to harm. And maybe one person doesn't need to take that nonsense anymore. Maybe the other person has to learn to have courage to say, I will not deal with this nonsense. I am a good person. I don't mean to hurt anyone. And you keep making me feel small and not good enough. I've had it. You know, sometimes people need that. The other attitude to say, look, you can't treat me like this anymore. You have to know where you are coming from in order to know which behavior to apply. But you can only have that discrimination of watching two sides if you really, really understand. Really understand at the base of it. It's all perfect. We all have a part to play on this earth. All given a part to play on this earth. There are many lessons we have to learn. Many lessons we have to learn. And if we gently melt into the lessons rather than resist and fight them, we will know whether we're right or we're wrong or which action to take. But when we resist what we hear, whether it's right or wrong, we will never go deep into ourselves. Because even if that person, the entrega person who said that, is wrong, right? Even if that person is wrong, at least then you know, I must be so weak that I'm willing to sacrifice who I really am just to maintain his, his approval. That must show you you're really weak. And once you're really weak, people will manipulate you. So what good are you in the world if you're manipulated? Are you any good? Because all you will do is complain all day and blame all people all day long. So manipulation is not what you want. And again, if you understand the essence of the spirit, understand the essence of self-realization, I said it before, truth, knowledge, bliss, absolute. If you understand that, then you know that everything that happens to your life is to bring you there. Sometimes these experiences can be extremely painful. Extremely painful. Bear the pain. and do the best you can to make yourself happy in the pain. If you do that, when the pain goes away or drifts off like a fog gently being lifted, pain does that too. By itself, it will one day get less and less. If you just stay patient with the pain, what you will see, the gift you will get, and I've seen this happen to people over and over again, without causing revenge, and just watch, the gift that they get after that is, wow, you know, I was really so ignorant before. You know, I really, the way I behaved in life had no substance and had no depth, and I was just living life like I was a robot. And this pain has brought me to a place where I can see much clearer. And then they use the pain as knowledge to help others who are suffering too. And not only that, because they've gone through pain, they are able to have compassion for somebody else who's gone through pain. So ultimately, pain all the way around is not a bad thing. It is a learning. And in life, we have pleasure and pain, don't we? Everybody has. It's never going to be all pleasure. It's never going to be all pain. It's going to be like a little story, that a weave, you know. Our life is like, it's like a weave. We're all weaving through this beautiful picture. The end result, if we can live to our highest and our highest spiritual self, will be a wonderful result. The result will be at the end of your day, at the last days of your life, you will say, I lived to my highest good. I did my best for my family. I did the best for my friends. I tried, even when things were bad, I made the most of it. And you'll be so ready to leave the earth. There's this feeling of joy and peace when you exit. You know, as I saw my father exit with that peace, so ready to go. I saw my husband exit with that peace. The last 6 weeks was like a transformation and a fixing. It was really very interesting. Everything that we disagreed on, etc. The last minute it was all okay. Because we had time, those 6 weeks, to say sorry, thank you, forgive me, everything, you know. And because there was no more ego. There was no more ego. You're facing death. There's no more ego. And the ego of being right or wrong is what stops us from loving each other. But the moment you hear somebody's going to die, your ego goes, right? Both sides. And there's like, oh my God, I really love you so much. Why did I complain about stupid things? Do you see? But isn't it better to have that knowledge early? So you can, you know, you can really remedy all the situations. You can live the highest you can. The highest you can. I mean, when we were in the retreat in Portugal now, we had these 3 lovely souls, Chandra with her 2 beautiful daughters. You know, obviously, you know, she lost her husband 16 weeks ago. And the daughters, their father. And the way they spoke there with so much understanding of their pain and their loss and the love they gave everybody. You know, after the retreat, how many people came to me and said, they really touched us. They really touched. People who've never met them, right? Isn't it true? Yeah. They said, they really touched us. And then at the end of the retreats, when we had the couples and the men and the women agreeing, and you know, all my friends from different countries were saying, oh my God, this is amazing. If all couples could just work together like this, we are reaching a new era. So I want to thank you guys for making the whole of Quinta and everybody I met that weekend. Really new people too who came to their first retreat were really impressed by that. So I'm very grateful. Because, you know, you give people hope that you can repair things and you can fix things. That in pain, it's just not me talking about it. You've proven that you can do it. And so many people were so touched. So I really need to thank you, Dr. Flair. Made everybody cry. John and the Magnolia, they said something together. Yeah. And Gigi and John, oh my God, Gigi and John. John, you became the favorite, didn't you?
Now come yogi.
Yeah, you know, it's just like when people come into their spirit. I mean, it was his first retreat. Poor guy, he was really dumped into the deep end, and Magnolia is first as well. See, that first retreat, and I think the first day they probably thought, oh, what have I come to? But like the third day, I mean, it was really great when people have this self-realization. Oh my God, we're really spirit living in human bodies. There's a transformation. There was a light that everybody could see in their faces. I mean, it wasn't just me. I said, oh, everybody's developed, you know, this kind of, this new vision that they could see everybody was shining. It was really quite obvious and quite beautiful to watch, you know. And to see that in the spirit, there is no time. It doesn't matter it's your first retreat or your last retreat, or maybe you've done 50 retreats in your life, just focusing on the higher self. It just shows it really doesn't matter. But when you melt into compassion and loving and sharing, at that moment, two become one, and there's just a dynamic flow of energy. It's dynamic. You can't explain it to the world till you experience it, right, John? Because that was his word. Gigi said to come, and he thought, didn't really understand it, but he came to make her happy, and he said it's really an experience. So self-realization is really exactly that. It's an experience. It's an experience. It's not something, and when you experience it, it's not something you boast about either. It doesn't take the form of arrogance. It doesn't take the form, oh, I'm self-realized. Because if you are, oh, look at the rain, it's beautiful. Yeah. Listen to the sun, falling rain, listen to it fall. Do you remember Jose Feliciano? I'm too old for all of you. And the next sentence, and with every drop of rain, I will love you more. So anyway, going back to the essence of the spirit, it really didn't matter at that point when you're talking about the highest self-realization, that dynamic getting together of understanding of two being as one, or more being as one, the whole room being as one, really, that's what we experience, the whole room being as one. Then there is no separation. When there is no separation, you could see the whole room is elevated with this dynamic energy. And it's a fabulous feeling because you're in bliss, you're in truth, because there's no lies between them. Everyone is totally truthful in their pain and their joy and their sorrow. There's no, oh, I can't say this. Or, it's just, everything is understood and everything is loved. And everything is forgiven at that point. And at that point, everybody is peaceful in their pain or in their joy. There's a peace. And why does that happen? Because we all know deep inside, naturally, we're creatures. We're creatures who need to love each other, who need to be kind to each other, who need to care for each other. So in order to get self-realization, it's no point. You can read 1,000 books on self-realization. You can read 1,000 methods. One master will tell you this method. Another one will do another method. I will tell you another one. Another one will tell you this one. A friend will tell you another one. Why? Because we all have our own methods. Yes, there are certain disciplines that will help you. There are certain disciplines. There are universal laws that will help you. But in order to really experience the spirit, you have to observe these laws, and they're very clearly marked for us. Very clearly marked for us in all traditions. First one is, don't hurt anybody. Don't cause pain to anyone. Non-violence. And don't cause pain to yourself. Because you are part of that whole. So, going back to this lovely question that I got, if you are giving all the time and you don't love yourself, then there is a problem. that giving is not really complete. It's not a win-win situation. But if you are given and you're giving and you love yourself too, and you're excited about serving and giving and helping others, you're excited. And there's a joy, it's an upliftment. One will bring you down and the other one will bring you up. Learn to listen to these heart feelings. We say, that the divine energy, the Lord of love, sits in our own hearts. That's where we connect. And I always love to talk about the divine mercy, and we have it right here. Excuse my arm, it doesn't go that direction. So let me use that one. Lord Jesus and the divine mercy. Do you see all the rays of light coming? Now, if you look at most spiritual masters, you will see the rays of light always coming from the heart and what we call the crown chakra. And that's why they have halos. That's why they have halos. We have in our bodies what we call chakras. What does chakras mean? Wheels of spinning energy. We have our physical body, which is dust to dust, ashes to ashes. And then we have our astral body. Our astral body, or our soul, if you want to call it, carries with it all the information of all the lives we have lived prior to this one. It carries, but it does not remember. It doesn't have the memory of it, but it carries it. It carries all the information and for those who don't believe in reincarnation, don't worry about it. We had to come from somewhere, right? Maybe another planet. We carry that information in our atoms. And that energy that we carry, that soul, that individual soul, takes a body that is in a certain family, and with certain people, it decides to reincarnate with certain people and certain families to learn certain things, to bring them to their highest. So, why is this information necessary? The yogis tell us that we have 7 centers in our body. They are called chakras. And they correlate with our physical body. When these centers are in balance, it normally means we are trapped in some trauma, mental or physical, emotional traumas, basically. And they stay stuck in certain parts of our body. These traumas come either when we are born, or created. Some are created in this life. But they can all be unblocked. So they tell us that certain centers, like for example, no problem. Are you understanding me or are you losing me?
No.
Are you understanding me? Okay, good. Okay, so we have the first center, which is called the Muladhara chakra, is right here at the very, very bottom, and that's why we sit straight. And that connects with our legs and our feet, and it is to do with the emotion grounding. You feel grounded. And it's all to do with legs. That's why when you are disturbed, maybe you need a change in your life, your knees will go, or your feet will go. It's telling you almost that you're maybe either too grounded or too little grounded. You should change something in your life. Something needs changing, something needs moving. You have to know yourself to know what messages. It could also be that you just have this illness from a karmic past lifetime, right? But you have to know yourself to know where it's coming from. So that's to do with grounding. And then we have the second chakra, which is called Swadhisthana chakra, which is to do with communication. This involves the testes, the ovaries. So if you have problems, impotence, frigidity, you've got problems in that area, it means that there's a lack of communication in your relationship and things are not working well. Deal with it. You have come to this earth to deal with it, not to deny it, not to run away from it, not to fight it, to learn about it, communicate, and find out what is lacking or not lacking in your relationship. And communicate this in your relationships. It's a lack of communication. And today I see male and females alike with so many problems in that area. So many infections and swelling and all kinds of things. Okay, that's a second area. Also again, you have to see whether it's from something that disturbs you, and if you ask yourself right away, you will know. And if it's nothing that is disturbing you, then it's probably karmic, or you need to change your diet. It's a physical problem. You need to change your food, because it could also be simple as that, eating the wrong foods. Then you have the third chakra, which is associated. This is all your astral body, right? Because you have to understand your soul body before you can understand your goal, your work on earth. So the next chakra is your solar plexus chakra. And that is the turning point of your life. The Chinese call it the seat of the soul. The seat. That's where you start with your higher energies. Knowing that you are spirit in a human body. Knowing that you are soul in matter. So this is always related with stomach problems, indigestion, IBS, and this shows that one needs more courage, lack of courage to change, to move forward, to grow, a lot of fear, nervous energy. That's why when you're nervous, I've got butterflies in my tummy, right? Don't you all say that? And also when you when people party a lot, they say they want to paint the town red. No grounding. That's associated with the base chakra, and that's the color of the base chakra, by the way, red. And if you listen to some of the language, it's quite interesting. And the color of Swadhisthana is orange, and the color of the stomach is yellow. And that's why when they say you don't have courage, they say you are yellow. Have you heard that expression? Don't be yellow.
Which is a kind of a yellow,
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's where it comes from. That you don't have the courage to move forward, to move on, to go to your higher, and that's that chakra. And then we have the heart chakra, which is green, which takes you to the higher levels of being, where you communicate with love. This affects your shoulders, your arms, and your fingers, and that's why when you love someone, you hug them. And that's why when you're hurt, it feels like your heart's going to break in 1,000 pieces, because this is your most important center of loving, nurturing, caring. And then we have the throat chakra, which is the color blue. And don't they always say blue is the color of healing? Blue is the color of healing. This chakra is related to your inner voice. Are you in communication with your inner voice? Intuition. Many of us, all of us are given the gift of intuition. We hear things. Don't you say, oh, I heard it, I knew it. Where did you hear it from? Where did you know it from? That's the inner voice. That's your intuition. That's your higher self. You're now moving on to your higher levels, and you are voicing what you're hearing. You are living what you are hearing. And then that will be very nice. If you are not voicing what you're hearing, I always have sore throat. If you talk too much, this area will be affected. If you talk too little, this area would be affected. This is also responsible, the thyroids are connected with it, and responsible for mood swings. So, of course, when you're not in communication with yourself, when you're not at peace in yourself, when you're not listening to your higher voice, don't you become moody? Have you noticed when you become moody? When you're a little, like inside, really deeply deserve something is telling you something. You know you shouldn't be doing that, but you just do it, then you get a little moody. And that's where it comes from. Because you're not really listening to yourself and your inner voice. And that's when you know. Something inside is telling you to make some changes, but you don't want to do it. We live too much in fear. Then we have the higher, what they call the third eye. And that the color of it is a violet kind of color. And that is associated with your brain. Headaches, when you think too much, why do you get headaches, right? Bad headaches, bad migraine. You're not, too many thoughts, too much hard work. You need to relax more, proper thinking, learn to change your thinking. And this is what we do in yoga. We say you can change your thinking. And then finally, the highest point is connected with your connection to the divine energy. God is everywhere, they say. Spirit is everywhere. The essence, truth, knowledge, bliss, absolute. When all the chakras are in balance, when you live a good life, what do you have? The communication with the highest. And what will you experience? Peace. So what happens? Whatever outside in the world is going wrong, wars, people shouting at you, disagreeing with you, yes, you react, because the body has to react, the mind has to react. We live in this world. You must learn to protect yourself by making yourself strong on all these different levels that I spoke about today. All these, make yourself strong. If you see there is a weakness in you, like lack of courage, or you don't listen to yourself, or low self-esteem, you must try to make that right. And then all the chakras will spin in unison. And when you are in unison, no matter what the outside world brings, you stay in unison. Why? Because you're connected to the highest. And all the time you're seeing, I'm not alone. You may feel alone when you're not connected, but you will never feel alone when you are connected. You may feel lonely, but you will not feel alone. There are two different things. Feeling lonely and feeling that you are totally alone. People can feel lonely without feeling that they're totally alone. So these are all the things you have to learn about yourself. So you have your physical body and you have an astral body. The soul contains all these chakras that are related to your physical life. This is why it is so important. I think in the Bible it talks about 7 candles, is it? Or what is it? Does anybody know here? Is it? They talk about the number 7 in order to get the to see the Father. Does anybody know it? Okay, well, I'll have to look it up for you. 7 candlesticks, I think it is. But anyway, it doesn't matter. These are the 7 paths to the divine. And every time we work with ourselves more and more where the blockages are, the human blockages, then when we unblock them, we become more who we are, what we are born to be. There's no more fear being yourself. Because you will realize, self-realization, that really you are not this body. It's on loan. Did you get that? Your body is unknown to you. Now, you know your body is unknown to you. When your friend lends you a book, or a friend lends you a suit, or a friend lends you a dress or a computer, well, what do you do with it? You look after it, don't you? Because you have to return it. It's not yours. So tell the kids, don't touch it. It's not mine. I have to return it. Don't spoil it. It's not mine. Right? And that's the way we should treat ourselves. Don't spoil it. It's not mine. It's on loan. Let's look after it. Let's care for it a little. St. Paul said, it's our temple. It's our temple. How would you look after the church and the temple? People who have yoga center. I get so sad when it's not looked after, when it's not clean. By the way, thank you for mopping it this morning. It rained. Thank you so much. People could have tripped over those stones. I really appreciate it. When it's not clean, when it's not loved, it's our temple, our physical temple. It's a gift. And just as we would treat the outer temple, we should treat the inner temple. And when you are really, really, I want to know who I am, that's self-realization. The question, who am I? Do you ever ask yourself those questions? Who am I really? You know, who am I? Who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? You know, why did I choose this family? Sri Patanjali tells us and this is so true, when you do contemplate all these things and you do ask these questions, what happens is the answers come. They literally come by themselves. But it has to be a practice because, of course, unless you're really curious or you really want to know, the answers won't come. Have you got that? See, many people want to be happy for a short period of time and then that's good enough, but it's not permanent happiness. Like life is not permanent. If you really want to know permanent peace, you have to really ask that question, who am I? And then you have to apply the disciplines to get that answer. And that's why we do Hatha Yoga, the physical yoga. We have Hatha Yoga classes. Why? Because it works on all the different centers. You look at Surya Namaskaram, the sun worship. We work on all our centers. And then you see the Cobra. We work on our thyroid. We work on our chest. Physical, for good health. Astral, to open up the energies in case there are any blockages from previous lives. Because sometimes it's things that you don't need anymore. Open up. The bow pose, both sides of your body. Open up. Head to knee pose, you're working on your intestine. Squeeze out all the toxins. Squeeze out all the unnecessary garbage, emotional garbage. Squeeze it out. Head to knee pose. A shoulder stand. Send the blood down to your throat area. Massage it. Why? Because that's also responsible for your inner ear and your voice box. And mood swings. And hormonal disposal or a movement in the body, right? So there's the shoulder stand. And then after the shoulder stand, we go into the fish pose, which is the contrary pose, so that we do not close it too much, but open it out as well. Always balance. And that's again for your parathyroids, thyroids on the physical level, and for your inner voice. And then we go into the spinal twist, where you twist your body to make sure that any debris that's left over in the spinal cords, the spinal cord, if you look at it, it looks like a wire case. All the wires of the nerves go through it. It's quite interesting. We're really a machine, aren't we? I'm so convinced, you are too, right? It's just machinery, this is our wire to connect us to God. Here is the brain stem is the most important part because it sends the messages down. And that's our astral body. And when we clean it all up, we can connect to the highest. So anyway, going there. And then the next one, we do either the spinal twist to clean out all the debris in our spine. And then we do either the headstand at that point, if you're able, or the half headstand, to work on the crown chakra and this part here, to release all the energy there. And if you can't do it, we go into what we call the yogic seal or yoga mudra. We put our heads down till it touches the floor, and then we bring it up slowly. And this is sealing all the energies, all the chakras, bringing it into one, like a baby in the womb. And we finish with that. These are all very significant. And then we go into deep relaxation in the Hatha Yoga program. Why? To get in touch with the soul now. Now we're going a little deeper. We're very conscious all the time. And when we go into deep relaxation, what happens? We're going to our essence. You're watching yourself suddenly. You say, oh my God, I'm lying down here, I'm so relaxed, and I can hear myself think. And after a while, you don't even hear yourself think anymore, because you're so relaxed. So you get in touch with your own consciousness, that silence, that peace. That's why when people come out of deep relaxation, they feel so good, I feel so peaceful. And then after that, we do pranayama. the breath of life. And the Lord God, says Genesis, took the dust off the ground, created man, and blew into his nostrils the breath of life. So breathing, as Bhavani taught you last week, is a vital part of our process of getting into the soul and understanding the soul. You notice, sit quiet. I want you all to practice this all week. Will you do that? Every time you're conscious, every time you remember, just take a deep breath like this. Will you do it with me now so you don't forget how to do it? All you do is take a slow, deep breath. And breathe out. Take another slow, deep breath. And breathe out. The breathing calms the mind down. The slower, the better. The less you strain, the more calm you are. The mind is agitated. Breathe in slowly. And breathe out slowly. You can open your eyes. I didn't even ask you to close your eyes all day. You see? Natural. The moment you breathe, you want to go in. Like that. Do you see? You want to go inwards. It's natural. There's this feeling of quiet. You just want to quiet. And this quiet time is very necessary for us. We don't have enough of it. So during the day, make lots of moments of quiet time. And ask yourself, when you get agitated, don't fight with yourself. Don't say you're bad and no good. Who's good? I think we all have some bad in us, And who's bad? I think we all have some good in us. Just if you get agitated, don't judge yourself so much. Just, take a few deep breaths and ask yourself, why am I giving this so much importance? If I should fall down and die tomorrow, would it mean anything? Would it mean anything? Why am I giving it so much importance? Let it go. Take a deep breath. That's all you need. And question. In the beginning, just question. But don't go into this, I did this because of this, and because of this, and because of this, and because of this. So much analyzing. As if you'll ever get to the truth anyway. The silence will take you to the truth. Everything you know is inside of you. All these centers, if you understand them, will tell you what's wrong with you. So if you feel palpitation of your heart, you're agitated and you're angry, somebody said something that really upset your ego. Why did you let them? If it's true, you should be upset. But if it's not true, you should not be upset, right? My master always said that. If somebody calls you stupid and you get angry, then you must really be stupid. Because if you are not stupid and somebody calls you stupid, you go, that's your problem. I'm not stupid. You know you're not stupid. Correct or incorrect? So you must really, start to watch these very fine-tuned things in yourself without over-analyzing. I find today people analyze too much. And they go through a problem so much in their head, that they have no peace. So when you have a problem, try, instead of putting so many explanations in your head, why this, try and think, it is like this. This is the way it is. Let me have some silent time, quiet time, so I can get some peace and maybe get a solution and get an answer. Otherwise, you're making up stories in your head. Who told us one story in the... Ula. Ula said we could use her story. Yes, she said we could use her story. Okay, she was telling us this story, and I think I'd like to tell you. This was in Portugal. Her male friend, her very good friend, Stefan, they're very good companions. He lives in Sweden, and she lives in Estoril. Anyway, he went to Greece, and he texts her every day, normally. You know, when he's traveling, always texts her 3 or 4 times a day, and they're very good with texts. Anyway, he went to Greece with some friends. So for every day, no text, no text, no text, she started getting, first of all, she started worrying. Is something happened to him? He went on a boat trip with his friends. Did he drown? Then after the 4 days, she realized, no, he couldn't have drowned because I would know. We're too close. I will know. 5th day, she started getting angry. I know what's happened. He's found another companion, another woman. She was telling us, right? And she said this was in her head. She became so miserable. She got so angry. And she was like, then she told her daughters the day before, I don't know what this guy, I'm going to break up with him. He must have found another woman. And I'm getting so old now. I'm not going to be able to attract another man. All this is going on in her head. And then and suddenly he called her, and he said, oh, when he got there, his Apple phone or whatever broke.
Lost his phone.
He lost his phone. He lost his phone, and he didn't want to invest and buy a new one in Greece, so he lost his phone for 10 days. You know, but you could have called. He could have called. Really could have called. But do you know what the picture was? And after all that, everything was fine. And she laughed, and she said she learned how the mind just goes, right? And in the end, it was nothing. You know, it was really nothing. It was no big deal. Poor guy lost his phone, didn't know how to get on the phone. He was out on a boat in the middle of these islands because it was a boat trip. You're not going to have any reception anywhere anyway. So when he got back home, got a new phone, and that's when he called her immediately. So, and she was telling us, she said, you know, I realized, it was such a good lesson. She realized how the mind just creates its own nonsense. And many times we create, you know, and I asked her if I could tell this story because this is what happens in people's minds. They create all these things, and then they come to me and they come with these stories, and I go, well, what are you basing it from, you know? But it's all kind of like made up in their own mind, and there's no reality to it. There's no reality to it. So in order to avoid that happening, try not to analyze too much. Take a deep breath. Save yourself 10 days of misery. She, poor girl, was miserable for 10 days. And wait for the truth. She said, thank God for the yoga, because at least she could control that a little bit, you know? She could control it. She'd stop. So it's better. It's not as painful as when you can't control it. So these practices are all done to make us realize, self-realization is to realize really that we are not really this body, we're not really this mind, we're immortal. That's why our mantras, asatoma sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya amritam gamaya. And what does it mean in English? Lead us from unreal to real. Lead us from darkness to the light. Lead us from the fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. In other words, we are immortal, so all this is just a play on earth. We're seeing a movie, our own movie. And guess what? We can be the directors if we know how not to get so personally involved. We can co-create with God. That's the new language. We can work with the divine energy and make our lives happy and joyful if we don't get stuck on those things. And that one mantra says it all. And the other mantra, I want to show you, also a Hindu mantra, but a Sanskrit mantra. This fullness came from that fullness that fullness remains forever full. Can you see? It's a Sanskrit mantra. We, this fullness, came from that higher light. And even though we came from this light, it's quite nice that it's a tea light, you see? Yeah, with a small baby. We have that light in us. And the self-realization is, this is the individual soul with the light inside of us. This lovely light inside of us. Self-realization is learning to see this light came from that light. And that light is always loving and always there and always full. And you can take and take, and this is why all great masters say, you're abundant. Why do you think you're not good enough? You are full of love. Why don't you believe that? You're full of compassion. Why don't you work towards that? Because we have that in us. And we forget that. And this is the cause of our misery. This is the cause of our sadness. We separate. But really, this fullness came from that fullness. In the beginning, it was all one. And this is the idea of self-realization. When we realize that, life becomes much easier. We become happier. We work for higher things. We become more creative. We become more artistic. We want to discover new things and new technologies and use it for the higher good of man. We don't waste our time feeling sorry for ourselves or talking nonsense all day long or gossiping or hurting others. We use our life on earth for the highest good of mankind. And if there is a problem with human relationships, we fix it or we unfix it. Sometimes you just have to learn two people can't live together. I don't know, you have to know yourself. But to live your highest good, there has to be peace. And that highest good is in all of us. And this is why when we do birthdays, we say share your light. Because if one person is lit up, they can share it with many, many people. And really, this is our human mission. And when we do that, we walk into a room and we make people happy. There's a satisfaction, isn't it? When you can walk in a room and, oh, she's come, she's made me happy. Or he's walked in a room, he's got such a good nature. I want to be, doesn't it make a difference? You know that, John, you walked into the kitchen, did all the karma yoga. Everybody in the kitchen became happy. So it's really like that. One person can light so many hearts. So you won't waste your life on nonsense, and you'll use your life in gratitude as, oh, I'm so lucky I have this body that can move and walk. Okay, it's getting old, ache here, ache there, but still can walk and still can move and still can do many things with my mind, even if my body is not that strong. So you don't feel sorry for yourself. Oh, I've got an ache here. You just enjoy it. Oh, it makes you more compassionate, more loving to somebody else's pain. Do you see? You change a bad situation and you make it great. And that's self-realization. And that is our honor. And that is our dignity. And that is our integrity. And when we live like that, we live in the light. So I think that's the end of the talk.